Okay, let's get going. So today is going to be about using the TRX to get some mobility through our body. And we want to think about mobility as how a joint moves. And so we think about elbows, shoulders, anywhere that we sort of hinge our body is where we're working through mobility. Flexibility is how long will our muscles elongate in that sort of hinge or range, but we want to think about how well our joints move and keeping mobility through those joints. So we're going to start off with an upper body series, and then we're just going to work our way down as we get further into this. What we're going to want to do is have your straps at about mid-length. The yellow tabs are covering up either your diagonal line or like a 2 hashtag line. And you're going to grab your handles and we're going to lean back and we're going to face our anchor point. And we're going to start by letting our chest collapse so that we create this big arch, concave arch in our chest. And then after we've concave arched it, we're going to drive those shoulders back and lift your chest up. And then sink back, allowing those shoulders to roll forward. And then engage through that core, shoulders back. And really just keep working through this relaxing of the shoulder blades and then contraction of the shoulder blades. So we're trying to warm our shoulders up, trying to find the range that our shoulders will allow for this contraction as we lift up, and then relaxation as we arch through the back. And let's get one more in that nice concave, and then drive those shoulders up. And then we're going to spin and turn around. We're going to face away from our anchor. I like offsetting my stance here, so I'm going to put one foot in front, one foot behind, and I'm going to lean and bring my handles all the way up above my head. I've got my weight really leaning into my handles as I'm facing away from my anchor, and then I'm going to bring my arms from up above my head in a full range all the way down behind my hips. And then big full range coming all the way up. So we're looking for that just mobility here, just kind of trying to find the range from up overhead, down through your hips, back to overhead. Lean your body weight into these TRX straps. So we're really leaning into our straps, working through this mobility range here. Our shoulders work through a lot of different planes, and we want to warm up the fascial tissue, so that saran wrap that sort of surrounds our arms. And this is just nice big warm-ups before we get into a really good mobility hold here, where we're going to really try and allow our joint to relax all the way out. We're going to get one more of these circles from up above our head, all the way down, back behind, getting to those hips, and then coming back up above your head. And then we're going to spin, and you're going to face that anchor point again. We're going to do golf rotations here, so we're facing the anchor point, slight bend in your knees, push into your handle, and rotate that arm all the way as far back behind you as you can, but keep your eye gaze focused on your hand that's been out in front of you. Come right back to center, bringing those hands together. Other arm goes back behind you. Again, looking for that big range here. Try and get as far back as you can. We're trying to increase mobility in our shoulders, so how far back can we allow this shoulder to lean? And really give yourself Slow, controlled movement here. Right arm going back, finding that full extension, giving a pause, bringing it back to center. Left arm goes up, back, behind, giving a pause, and then bringing it right back to center. One more to each side. Really giving that nice rotational opening. And then left arm. Again, really giving that nice rotational opening. And then come back to center. And now we've kind of gone through these nice little warm-ups. We're going to go into a static hold. So our static hold, we're trying to open up through our shoulders. We're going to be holding, we're going to be facing away from the anchor. We're going to be holding the handles low and behind our back. So I've got my palms towards my butt, and I'm going to offset my stance, and then I'm going to lean as far forward as I can, really allowing my shoulders to get pulled back behind me, but my palms remain down towards the ground. We're going to do a 2-minute hold there. All right, so get yourself nice and set up. Palms down, lean forward, and hold. So we really got this nice lean. So this should also feel kind of like a really nice stretch across your chest. Be mindful about your hands. There's a tendency to let our wrists sort of rotate outward. Don't let that happen. Keep your palms facing down towards the ground, and your legs are there to support you. So if you need to take a little weight off, drive into that front leg and take some weight off your arms. And really just going for some nice mobility through these shoulders here. We're going to add a little rotation, so I want you to turn your shoulders and rotate towards your left side, allowing a little deeper stretch to come across. Come back to center, and then lean towards your right side, allowing a little deeper stretch across, and come back to center, just into this nice static hold. Allowing that shoulder joint to elongate out. Be actively engaged. Don't just allow yourself to flop forward. You're still contracted. I've still got a very tight core. My glutes are squeezed. My shoulders are tight. I'm allowing that movement to happen, but I'm not allowing it to just flop my body forward. Almost there. 2, 1, and then just step yourselves back. You can bring the straps over your shoulders and shake your arms out and just allow some movement to come back into the arms and into your shoulders. We're going to do another static hold. We're going to hold our hands up above our head. Now we don't want our hands to pin together. We want to keep our hands in line with our shoulders as we're holding up overhead. We want to lean forward, really allowing that chest to open up again a little through the top part of our chest, but we keep those palms forward and allow that stretch to come across all of our arms and allow some more range of mobility in our shoulders. So setting yourself up, walking yourself forward. Again, I offset my stance. I might switch which foot I had in front this time, and lean and hold. So as I lean, I bend that front knee to allow the weight to be taken up by the front leg. And I'm just leaning through these shoulders, and that's kind of what's stabilizing me here. Again, Don't let your hands pin together. Keep them straight up above your head. Palms, your fingers are reaching towards the sky. And we're looking for nice, great mobility through our shoulders here. If you're a swimmer or a triathlete, or you spend any amount of time doing water work, this is great stretches, good mobility work that could be done as you build, climbers even, as you build muscle in your shoulders and in your lats, you begin to get restricted shoulder mobility. So these long mobile holds in upright positions, allowing that full extension of the shoulder joint, is super helpful for those athletes to not become mobily restricted through your shoulders. I also like to be really mindful here of what's going on in my shoulder joint. If I feel pain or tightness, I kind of want to really be mindful about where that pain is coming from. Is it coming from my bicep? Is it coming from my tricep? Or is it coming from my neck or my shoulders? That's telling me that I've got a knot there. I've got a point of tension there that I'm going to want to work out later. We're almost there. And 2, 1, press through those handles, step back, and again, rest those arms out, roll through those shoulders. We've got one more static hold for our shoulders, and it's going to be putting our hands out to our sides in a T position. So, keeping your palms to face away from you and in line with your shoulder is a really big deal here, okay? We want to relax it out and lean forward, but don't allow those wrists to turn down towards the ground. Keep your palms facing away from you in the same direction that you're looking. So, nice big hands out to your sides, a nice lean forward here, and here we go. 2, 1, and lean into this, allowing that nice deep stretch to come across your chest. And really looking for that mobility range within our shoulders, trying to extend those arms out to your sides. Allow our shoulder joint to open just a little bit more. And again, being mindful of any pain that I'm having. Where is that pain coming from? Or where is it radiating to? And 2, 1, take a step back. Let go of those handles and just sort of shake those shoulders out a little bit. Just kind of allowing some relaxation to go through that arms and upper body. We're going to go into, so from shoulders, we're going to work our way down to our hips, and we're going to go into some hip mobility here. We're going to start by grabbing your handles, just leave them right where they're at, and we're going to go into a side-to-side movement. So we're going to take a little bit wider than shoulder width stance, or wider than shoulder width stance. Using your straps to help you out, we're going to lower down, and we're just going to push our body weight from one leg, push your body weight across to the other leg. Really thinking about your hip joint, doing that pushing movement and extension out from your hip, and then coming into weighting that hip. So grab your handles, face that anchor, find the right amount of tension for you, press all your weight down to one side, keeping your hips low, push your hips across and out to the other leg, and push across and out. Again, focusing in on the hips. Then straighten both legs out and come on up. Turning, letting go of one handle, turning and facing sideways to your anchor. So I've turned, my anchor is at my left hip. I'm going to hold the handle at my chest, right at chest height, and I'm going to take my left foot and I'm going to step out in front of me with my left foot. My right foot is stepping right behind my left. So I've kind of got an offset stance here. I've got these handles at my chest, and I'm really going to think about just letting my hip push towards the right side, and then I'm going to bring my right hip back to center. Things to be mindful of as we allow this hip to push away is that there's a lot of times we add a rotation to this where we start allowing our right hip to roll forward, and we don't want that right hip to roll forward. So we want to be locked in with our hands and then gently push that hip straight away from you, and then engage and bring it right back up. So hold on to that handle, and here we go. Push your right hip away, bring it right back up. Push the right hip away, right back up. And you're holding that TRX handle at your chest. So again, if you were at your anchor, your left hip is in line with your anchor. Your left foot takes a step straight out in front of you. So I'm facing sideways to my anchor and allowing this hip to just drop away from me and bring it right back. Let's get one more. Really allowing that hip to drop away and then come right back to center. And now we're going to switch. So I'm going to turn and put my right hip to the anchor of the TRX. My right foot takes a step forward. My left foot is behind me. I'm locking in with the handle at my chest, and I'm going to push my left hip straight away from me. And so we allow that left hip to drop away and bring it back. Drop away, bring it back. Again, fighting through that rotation. We don't want to let that left hip start rotating forward. We want to keep it just in line. Really work on pushing your hip out to your side, bringing it right back to center. let's get one more. Allowing that hip to push away and come right back to center. So now we're going to grab our handle that we were missing. And we're going to hold on to both handles. Our palms are going to be down and we're going to find a little bit of tension on our strap. We're going to go in for our 2-minute hold here. You're going to start by taking your right foot and crossing it in front of your left foot. So I'm still looking at my anchor. My chest is still square to my anchor. And now here, I'm going to allow my hips to lower down towards the ground. And we're going to stay in this position here for a 2-minute hold, opening up through that hip joint. Here we go. 2, 1, and allow the hips to lower down. Your head should fall in between your arms. Your legs are as straight as possible. And you're leaning your body weight back behind you. So my arms are doing a decent amount of work by holding on to the strap. And I'm grounding through my feet. You want to be facing your anchors. You want to look at where your TRX is attached to whether it's a door or a ceiling strap. You want to be looking at that before you cross your feet over in front of the other. Great. Look at that anchor. Take one foot, step out in front of the other, and then lower your hips down towards the ground. Try and be as still as you possibly can in this static hold. It's really easy to want to move around and release out of this, but that's just some mental fighting that you've got to do. It's a great time to think about your mental breathing, just focusing in on your breath and not letting what's going on in your body distract you. And just breathe. Got just a few more seconds here. 2, 1. Begin to straighten those hips up, staying square to that anchor, and then uncross your right foot. Step with your left foot in front of your right foot. We're going to our other side. Make sure that your toes are facing the same direction, and lower those hips down and hold. Remember that every side of your body is different. You might be able to allow the hips to drop a little further on this side. They might be a little more restricted. That's okay. That's just where your body's at today. Your legs are straight. You're focusing on your breathing. If you're finding that your arms are getting tired, relax your grip. I know that sounds crazy, but you don't have to hold on to these handles with a death grip. You just need to hold on enough Take your thumb out like you're playing thumbs up, 7 up. We've got just a couple more. 2, 1. Drive with those hips to come back to center, and then step and uncross your feet. Go ahead and let go of your handles for a second here, and just shake the legs out. Just take a moment. That mobility work through the hip should have been felt on that static hold all the way up your back and down your leg, because it's all interconnected to our hip joint, right? All this side work interconnects to our hip joint. So it was, as we create mobility through there, we're going to start feeling different areas of our body. We are going to go into a forward mobility work, which is hinging. So we're going to want to hinge through our hips. We're going to grab our handles. We're going to face that anchor point again, wherever it's tied to, a door, an anchor, an eye bolt, whatever that is, and take a wider than shoulder width stance. I'm going wider than my yoga mat, so if that gives you like sort of an indication about how wide you should be, that's pretty good. Nice wide stance. And again, facing that anchor, because we're going to use our handles for some support here. As we begin to hinge forward and bend through our waist, we're going to press into those handles for our stability. Now the things that and then come right back up. The things that we want to make sure of is that we are not letting our toes start pointing to the outside. We want to keep our toes pointing straight out in front of us. Okay, so standing up nice and tall, press into your handles, looking at that anchor, and hinge. And then drive to come up. Hinge. And drive to come up. Again, we're thinking about this as keeping a nice flat trunk, and I'm hinging at my waist, leaning forward, and then a nice solid flat trunk coming right back up, thinking about our mobility through our hips. What sort of range will our hips allow us to go through in that leaning forward and coming back up? Let's get one more here. Hinge forward. And then come back up. We're going to go into the static hold now. So we're going to step our feet nice and close together, and then let's go with our left foot taking a step forward, maybe a shoulder width step. Again, we're going to stick with that hinge. We're just going to press forward, and we're going to hinge, and we're going to hold here. And down we go for that nice hold. So we've got our right foot behind us, our left foot out in front, and we're hinging and holding here. Our hands are straight out in front of us, using the handles for support. And then we really want to focus on our right hip. Since that's the leg that's behind us, there's going to be, again, a tendency to allow that right hip to rotate open and back behind. Make sure that you're pushing that right hip forward in that hinge so that you are bending straight through the waist and holding at a nice flat hinge here. And If this is too deep of a stretch for your left hamstring, you can always slightly bend the left knee because we are focusing more on our hip mobility here. How much mobility, how much length or rotation can we get through our hip? So if you need to bend that front knee, go right ahead, but don't allow the right hip to travel back behind you. You want to keep that right hip pressing forward. Two and one. Press through your handles. Come all the way up. Step that left foot back. Take your right foot, step your right foot forward. Focus on your left hip as we go into the hinge here. Hinging forward. And then static holding here. And again, every side of your body is different. You may not have to bend your right leg, but the left leg might need to bend to allow that hinge through the waist. Toes stay pointed towards the front. I know. I'd love to come and fuck with you right now. The handles are there for your balance and support. Two, one. Straighten those legs out and step that right foot back. Nice job, you guys. So take a second. We're going to let those handles go. We worked through mobility, going side to side in our hips, and then that nice hinge forward. We're going to go down to the ground and we're going to work some mobility in through our knees, which is also going to give us passive mobility on our hips, okay? So our knees, we're going to have a seat, and your TRX foot cradles are going to be set up at the mid-calf, mid-shin position. And so that's that rubber handle right below your kneecap. You want to be able to place your foot through the TRX, or you can put it into that that nice foot cradle if you'd like. We're going to put our foot into the foot cradle, and we're going to want our feet to face each other. So we've got we're kind of creating our the bottoms of our feet are touching, and then we're creating a diamond position with our knees here. So my hands are out to my sides. I want to take my legs and create a very narrow diamond. So my feet are going to be further away from me. And then I'm going to pull my knees in towards me, and I can grab onto these handles. And then I'm going to relax my feet out and then pull them in towards. So we're thinking about our knee joints going out towards our sides as we pull these knees in towards us, and as we bring them back, they're coming back together, but the balls of our feet are touching as we push and pull away, okay? Yeah. So pull them in, push them out, pull them in, push them out. And again, this is active through our knees. We're thinking about that knee joint, but we're also passively working through our hips, finding another range in that hip mobility. Katrina, no, bad dog. Really pull those knees into your chest. You're sitting up. Sorry, Dave. That's okay. That's fine. No, leave it. No. No. All right. Now what I want you to do is keep your feet nice and close together. Come on. No. And lay down. So we're going to be laying flat on our back, and we're going to be doing that same movement where we push those legs away and then pull your feet right back towards you. Push those legs away. Pull the knees right back towards you. So your knees are going out to your sides. As you pull in towards you, we're going to pull in and hold here. So this is where our 2-minute hold is. Nope. Pulling in and holding. So you've got your feet nice and close together. Your knees are opened out to your sides. You're pulling those heels in towards your chest. So you're feeling very active through your hamstrings and your calves. They ate a fish? Pork chip did. I even put a rock over it. Really think about allowing your knees to open up more to your sides. And again, our hips are passively working in this because they're opened up as well. Two, and one. Straighten your legs out. and let your feet come out of those foot cradles. On this next one, it's going to be up to you whether you actually want to put your foot in the TRX or not. If you choose not to put your foot in the TRX, you can use a wall or something stable to stand up nice and tall, and then you're going to grab one of your foot and you're going to pull that foot up to your butt, and you're going to want your knees in line with each other. The only thing that the TRX is going to do is we're going to put that foot into the foot cradle. We'll grab, and what you'll do is you'll grab the strap up above your head. So it's just a different way of grabbing. But we're going to keep those knees in line with each other, and you're just going to lift on either the TRX strap behind you. You can grab the handle, whatever part of this that you want, but we're going to do a 2-minute balanced hold with this leg here. So find what works for you. I sometimes find that just starting off holding a wall is a nice way of doing this until I get some really good stability, because the TRX is not that stable. Okay, so put a foot into the foot cradle if you want. If not, stand up tall, and you're going to grab with if it's your left foot, you're going to grab with your left hand and hold that foot as close to your bum as you can get it, but keep your knees right next to each other. Here we go. 2, 1, grabbing and lifting, and then really focus on the knee. Look down, make sure those knees are in line with each other. So not only is this a nice deep quad opener, but this really allows our knee joint to get some good flexion and good range of motion all the way back up. A lot of times we don't sit or open our knee joint up this way, creating the mobility that we need. We get really hampered down, and this becomes a really restrictive movement. Again, cyclists, runners, anyone who has really a sport or an activity that overdevelops your quads and your hamstrings, this is a great one to keep mobility in your body, and especially through your knee joint. Slightly rotten fish. Two and one. Releasing that leg, and then just take a second to shake out. Just shaking that leg out, allowing that joint to really feel the good extension that it got through it, that greater mobility. And then we just switch to our other side. Grabbing hold, and in 2, 1, pulling on back, making sure that your knees are in line. Also, part of making sure that the knees are in line does mean that you don't hinge your body forward, right? So we want to make sure that we're continuing to stand nice and upright. every side of your body is different. You might be able to get a nice big range on this side. You might not. Just be okay with where you're at today. Two and one. Releasing that leg and shaking it out. We've only got a few more. So we've worked hips, knees, and now we're down to those ankle joints. So the TRX is super helpful in allowing us to take some weight off of our joints as we go into some ankle mobility. We're going to start by warming our ankles up, so we don't need the TRX on this one. But you're going to put the back of your toes on the ground, and you're just going to lean your body weight forward with one foot, and then just go all the way back to a heel down on the ground. Curl the toes under, back of toes on the ground, and then flat foot to the ground. So here we go. Heel on the ground, curl your toes under, back of toes end up on the ground, push forward gently, back to the heel. Curl the toes under, back to the heel. Curl, back, and we're working just on one side. And let's go to our other side. Foot down, heel down, curl the toes under, right back down. Curl the toes under. Let's get one more. Curling those toes under and coming right back down. Okay, we're going to go back to our TRX, and we're going to use those foot cradles against the top of our foot. So we're going to put our top of our feet in, and we're going to go face down. And this is one of those times that we are not going to keep flexed toes. We're actually going to allow the weight of the TRX to give us a nice stretch across the top of our feet. So what we're going to do here is allow the TRX to push on the top of your feet, and you're going to gently just lift your hips up off the ground, which will give you a nice deep stretch along the back of your feet. Your hands can be at your sides, they can be out in front of you. You can tuck underneath your arms if you want to come up into a plank position and hold a plank, get some good core work in. That's up to you. But really, we're just looking at allowing the top of that foot to get nice and stretched out. So here we go. Just laying down. Allow that TRX. I've got my knees up off the ground and just allowing the TRX to stretch my foot or my ankle back. The extra little bit of having your knees off the ground and the weight of your legs being pushed into that ankle allows that greater range of mobility here. We got just a few more seconds here. Two and one. Let your knees come down and then bring your feet out of there. Just circle your ankles around. And then come on up. We're going to work on warming our ankles up in a side-to-side movement. So think about this like skiing. I'm going to roll to one side, so I'm going to put all my weight on my big toe if I'm rolling towards my right, on my big toe of my left foot, and on my pinky toe of my right foot. And then I'm going to roll through to flat feet and then roll to the other side. Pinky toe on my left, big toe on my right. So we're just kind of transferring that weight side to side, thinking about that movement coming through our ankles. So I'm really rolling inward on my right as I push to my right, on that big toe of my left, switching over, putting a lot of weight into my left, big toe on the right, and then back over, and then back to the left, and then back over, and then back to the left. We're going to get one more to each side, over to the right, and then over to the left, and then come back to center. We're going to use our TRX handles to allow us to get a greater stretch through our pinky toe side. Okay, so we're going to want our toes to sort of face each other. So we've got those toes opened up towards each other. Okay, so grab your handles, walk backwards. You're going to face that anchor again. So wherever you're locked in at, if you're at the door, you're facing your door, whatever your anchor point is, you're on your pinky toe side. And we're going to sink deeply into this and find a nice chair position. And then if you can, go all the way down to the ground and you're just going to sit here. Now I'm on just my pinky toes. My knees are out to my side, but I'm on my pinky toe side of my foot. So I'm really allowing that deeper rotation through those ankles on this. So find what works for you. So we're on that pinky toe side. I've really rolled my ankles out. And lower down. We've got 2 minutes here. Find where you need to be. I like by starting just a little bit and being like, okay, that feels pretty good. I can hold here. Maybe this is what gives me a greater stretch, so it's just a slight bend in the knees, allowing the rotation to come really along that outer edge. Or just continue to sink down. Finding what's going to give you the greatest mobility range here. So where can you get putting pressure into that ankle? Looking for that mobility of it rolling inwards. And this is just nice ankle protection. We roll our ankles. Being able to do this will allow that to happen without allowing those tendons or ligaments to snap or pop. We're just trying to create that mobility in this joint. And each side is different. You might feel that like you've got more tension in your left or your right, and that's okay. Two, one, roll your feet to center and then stand up. Take a second, let go of your handles, and just do some circles in those ankles. All right, you guys, hopefully you felt some really good mobility through your joints today. Did a top down. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.